So we're recording now. I'm excited today that we have Christine, our Crew Network president here, and our chapter president with Crew Inland Empire, Miss NoRhett Walls, is going to be doing an informal interview with Christine. So I'll let you take it away, Miss NoRhett.
Thank you, Pam. So welcome everybody to Crew Inland Empire Coffee Break. And we are very lucky today to have Christine Gorham, our Crew Network chapter president, with us. So I'll give you a little synopsis about Christine, because a lot of us really haven't had a chance to get to know her too much. Although I will say I have had cocktails with this wonderful woman, and I wish we were having Blanton's right now versus coffee this morning, but that's okay.
I think all of us Christine, do.
Oh, I know. Exactly. I promise it's just coffee in the cup this morning, you guys. There's nothing else in there. So Christine is Director of Development at Caddis. Yes. Caddis is a top 5 nationally ranked development and investment management firm focused exclusively on healthcare in senior housing. Mm-hmm. She oversees executive project strategy and client development, primarily in the Southeast. Her focus is on growing Caddis's development, acquisition, and property management portfolios. Christine holds a wealth of experience with over 30 years in healthcare, and 21 of those years focused in the medical real estate sector. She was CEO and partner of a women-owned healthcare brokerage called Eastwood Real Estate Services. She has sold or leased over 4 million square feet of real estate, primarily related to healthcare. And all of her healthcare professions and working in that industry, she's uniquely qualified as a real estate professional just specified in healthcare. She's currently serving as our 2020 network president. She serves as a director on the board of the Atlanta Commercial Board of Realtors. She is chairwoman of mentoring on the inaugural steering committee for women in healthcare, the Georgia chapter. She's a member of the Georgia Association of Healthcare Executives. It's a chapter of the American College Healthcare Executives. She's in her second term as co-chair of membership for the Young Men's Service League, where she volunteers one of her 3 sons. In 2018, she held the position of the global chair of Crew Network Foundation. She served on the inaugural advisory council for the Atlanta Women's Foundation Philanthropic Leadership Program, Inspire. Previously, she served as director on the Global Crew Network Board. She is past president of Crew Atlanta. She has been selected as a 2020 recipient of the Career Mastered Women's History Leadership in Action Award. That is a mouthful. By Career Mastered Magazine for making a compelling mark on business and being a strong role model. She's been chosen twice as one of Atlanta's top powerful women by BizNow. She was honored with the Shining Light Award by Crew Atlanta, an annual selection which is presented to Georgians who have inspired the lives of others through their service. She was named the top 100 most influential leaders in the commercial real estate by the Atlanta Business Chronicle. And besides all of that, Christine has an extensive list of speaking experiences over healthcare topics and diversity and leadership, which she's given throughout her career. So
oh my gosh,
anything else I can add? I know.
You know, I have to be honest with you. I listen to that and I'm like, who is that person? It's not, it's so bizarre, but yeah, it's been busy, but I love it.
Wow. That's fantastic. That is amazing. So I think maybe, do you want to start with some fun facts, or do you want us to go into some questions that people sent in? All right, so you want to share fun 5 things about yourself. I know we talked about this a little bit over email.
I know, and I was like, I probably should have thought about this a little bit more, but I'm crazy busy. Okay, let's see, some fun 5 facts. Okay, growing up, I played piano, and I used to accompany choruses, and I really, really miss playing piano. When I would get upset, my parents could always tell when I was upset because I would play piano to release my anger, I guess you'd say. So I grew up playing that. I also played tons of volleyball. And so the fun fact is I played well into my adulthood and really until I blew out my ACL a few times. But it is one of, I just think sports in general, and I think some of you have heard me speak that sports in general or any kind of group activity, I think is just so important in life to learn how to communicate with people and the camaraderie and that sort of thing. You have ups and downs when you're working with people. So that's been a very big basis of who I am. I am a huge proponent of, like, I love my family. I have a very, very close family. I'm the oldest of 4 girls. And we grew up always having like some fun things, like we would play village or city, and I always owned the bank. So I was always like, I always wanted to be the business person. So I always owned a bank or a store. And we would get the little tablets that had like the carbon copy thing, and we would write receipts, and we thought that was so cool. And to this day, I'm like, if you try to mess with one of my sisters, you're going to have to pretty much go through me, because I will have their back at all times. Let's see. I have 3 boys. They are 28, 25, and 16. He'll be 17 here in a couple of weeks. And I have absolutely enjoyed every minute. I always say, when I'm not at work or I'm not doing crew type things, I am usually with them and they have played sports, they have been in activities, they have, knock on wood, they've done very well in school. So we've been in a lot of different kind of events. So if you don't see me at work, I'm usually and now with the one that's at home, I'm usually at the baseball field, and I never get sick of it. I love every single minute of watching my kids. And my older kids now, for those of you who are dealing with the little ones right now, I hold on to them, squeeze them. I do, gosh, I miss the older ones. I still get to see them and we talk, and that I have such a great relationship with my kids. They're just close. They tell me things and then they say, we probably shouldn't tell you that. So I've really, really enjoyed so I went from having 3 sisters to I have 3 sons. So there's that. And just in general, things I love to do. I love to travel. So this is really kind of a bummer right now. I love to travel. I love people. Love interacting with people. I love to be on water. So any kind of water sports. I love to be on boats. I love to sail. And I'm a Pisces, and my husband will say, he'll tell me, he'll say, it's time for you to get to water. So that's a little bit about who I am.
That's wonderful, Christine. Thank you for sharing a little bit of who you are beyond just what we're able to talk to every day through Crew. So some people sent in some questions, so just some basic ones, and then we'll get into something more in depth. But why did you choose to join Crew, and how many years have you been involved?
Sure. So I was working for one of the large hospital systems in Atlanta, and while I was working for them, they got asked to sponsor a healthcare program at Crew. They sponsored a healthcare program, and they said, Christine, you're a female, you're doing a real estate, why don't you go represent us? So I went to a meeting, and somebody that was at the meeting said, we have a gala coming up, you should really come to the gala. And so I did. I went to the gala, and I tell this story just because I think it makes a very big point. Went to the gala, and I was dating my husband at the time. He had flown in from Germany. He was working internationally. He'd flown in from Germany. He was exhausted, and I had his tux ready to go, and he put on his tux. We went to the gala, and we're sitting there at dinner. We had been there for about an hour, hour and a half, and the person to his left was talking to him, and I was talking to the person to my right, and like about, I think we weren't even done with our salad, and he tapped my leg and he said, I'm ready to go when you are. And I said, what are you talking about? He said, he's like, I'm ready to go when you are. He said, this person was just so rude to me, to the point that's ridiculous. And I don't want to be here. I don't want you to have anything to do with this group. And I said, I was like, well, I can't leave right now. Like we can't. So we stuck it out. And if anybody remembers the Four Tops, the group, the Four Tops, they were playing that night. And so we kind of danced and kind of got over it. And I said, what was the deal? And he said, the person next to me said, well, what do you do for a living? And he was, at the time, he was like the movie, what's the one with the volleyball and Tom Hanks? Castaway. The job that Tom Hanks had in Castaway, my husband had, instead of for FedEx, my husband had that exact job for UPS. So he was saying what he did, and she goes, oh, well, you are of no benefit to me. You don't offer me anything. And just quit and turned around and quit talking to him. That was a crew member. And I have since pinpointed, I'm pretty sure I know who it was. But I say all the time, and the reason I tell you that story is because it was because of the other people that rallied, that not like they rallied around me, but it was the other involvement of the members that continued to make me feel welcome, that continued to invite me and really make me feel a part of the group, and plugged me into a programs committee. And they just, everybody just kept being there and being really nice, getting involved, trying to help. That's the reason I stayed, because I was really close to not even having anything to do with crew. And so I say that because I try to tell people, pay attention to how you treat the people that come in, because it could definitely impact what happens to them in crew. So I got really lucky that I had a lot of other people that that promoted me from a standpoint of helping and just really being nice and helping me get plugged in. So, and I joined in 2003. And I joined, I went through programming. I was on programs committee in 2008. I went through the Atlanta leadership program. And then in 2010, I co-led the leadership program. And then in somewhere around 2011, maybe somewhere around there, I got onto the Crew Atlanta board of directors. And then in 2014, I was Crew Atlanta president. 2015-16, I had gotten nominated as past president of Atlanta. I had gotten nominated to the Crew Network board. So 15 and 16, I was on the network board. I sat out in 17 and I ran the Crew Atlanta golf tournament. I got to plan it twice because we had a tornado. And in 2018, they had asked me to come back and do the foundation, be the chairman for the foundation. And then I got elected in 2017, so 2018, I got elected to be president for this year. So 19, I was PE, this year 20 president, and then next year I'll be past president. So since 2003.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. And thank you for sharing that story. And I just want to know, so the lady that was not so nice to your then boyfriend, now husband, have her UPS packages seemingly got misplaced over the years?
I know, right? I should have thought about that, but I didn't. No. So, no, but I do use that story because I'm like, it was so, I think about, gosh, that situation, that's one of those, I always find life, this is another thing about me, I find life very interesting where, there are decision points in life, and it's the fork in the road. And depending on which decision you make is going to depend on what your future looks like. And that was one of those moments that that was a point where it could have gone like this, and I would have had nothing to do with crew. And crew has been such a big part of my life that I can't even fathom. I can't even imagine what life would have been like without crew. So it's I love it. I love crew. I love the members. I love everything it stands for. I love what we do. I love the programming, the education, the camaraderie. There's just so much, and we do so many good things. And I love, on the foundation, I love that we are helping young women figure things out and looking at how can we promote them. I know I didn't have anything like that coming out of college. And the fact that we do that is just, I love that. So, anyway, but yeah, it could have been a whole different story for my life. And I would have really hated to miss out on it. So it was because of the other members of crew that kept me in.
That's fantastic. I think it is so great what Crew Network does just as an organization to promote women and give us a voice, basically. I know we all have one before, but it's even bigger when you go to convention or you go to a summit and you are there with, 300-400 other women at a time, and more than some summits we've been to. But it's nice to have that voice collectively all together and know that we're all on the same mission. We've all fought some of the same battles. We've all felt the same way periodically times throughout our life. And the more we can engage with each other, the further we can go together. It's not just about trying to get to your successes in life all by yourself. If you actually join together with others and share what your goals are and what your needs are, people want to help other people. They want to promote other people. They want to be there for other people. So I think that's really important, and Crew is probably just one of the biggest providers of doing things like that. I can tell you, I mean, I've been to other organizations and I've been members of other organizations through the commercial real estate community. And in anything you do, it is definitely, you get out of it what you put in. But with Crew, I think you get so much more. You really do. And I know I've told that to the people in my chapter, and I share my story a lot with people. But yes, that is definitely, you do get a lot more out of it than what you put in. It is incredible.
You
So
know,
what
and
would you say is
you know
your,
what, Nora, to that point too, I tell people, you know, you have so much bandwidth, right? You've got your full-time jobs, you've got bandwidth. And I do think it's important. I think organizations do support you. And, you know, I'm not somebody you're ever going to hear say, Crew is the end all be all. It's the only group that you should ever talk to in your life.
right.
Like, you know, I think there are other organizations that are there that can help as well. But I will tell you that I've never felt anything like I feel when I'm in Crew. It's just a whole different, it's a different feeling. I think people that are, and I will say a very high percentage, pretty close to 100%, to be honest with you, are people that honestly care about helping the other members. And it's at a level that I see people wanting to help other people in other organizations. I just see it at a different level in Crew, and I love that. So that's all I wanted to say was I'm not a Crew only, but I think it's, you get something different from Crew that you get from other organizations.
Very, very true. So Christine, what would you say is your biggest achievement in real estate sector, on the real estate side?
Yeah, gosh, you know, I think, you know, there are certainly business transactions that I've done that have been very large in size. So there have been those types of things, but I got to be honest with you. I think for me, one of the biggest things is, of course, being president of Crew, because I will tell you the number of women, like literally, I just got chills thinking about this. The number of women, I'm gonna get choked up. Sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry, I love so much about, oh my God.
It's good, Christine.
But the number of women in this organization that do unbelievable things is so amazing. And what I'll tell you is, like I say this all the time too, I kind of feel like the story, It's a Wonderful Life, with Jimmy Stewart, you know, and they said like what life would have been. The number of things that I have had the privilege of seeing from being president, seeing everything that all of the chapters do, all the members do, is amazing. And when I see, and our members are so smart. We have smart members, we have caring members, we have people who are doing things, helping themselves, helping their families, helping the communities, of course, helping their companies. It is, I'm amazed all the time that I'm the president of that group. It is, that the world would be different without Crew. It would be different without our members. Our members do so much for this world that it's amazing. And so, yeah, I'd say to be, you know, on a professional level, to be in this position right now is like the highlight. It's the highlight.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, didn't see that coming.
Yeah. We have a much easier question.
Ugly cry face. Okay, go ahead. Okay, let's go.
Do you ever feel like you've hit a glass ceiling in your career?
I will tell you, I don't know that I would call it a glass ceiling, but I will tell you, I've bumped up against where I've been in a position and I'm saying, okay, without any changes, I can't go anywhere else. And I have been told things like, you know, I've said, well, I'd like to compare who's doing what with the bottom line. And I've been told, in response to that comment, I said, I would love to compare, love the person that's above me, think they're a great person, but let's talk about the bottom line. And the response I've got was, well, they've been here a year longer than you have. Like, okay, well, great. You know, I've got 27 projects going on and I'm moving 80,000 square feet and I've got 16 departments I'm rearranging and they're ordering four-wheelers for their kids. You know, so I have hit that. And then, you know, and I think just from a standpoint, and then, you know, and really once I was going through that, I thought, you know, I can't, if the answer is you've been here 1 year less than the other person and you're outperforming them, it's not the place for me to be. I'm always trying to figure out what is a way to improve things. I'm a very big process improvement, situational improvement. Let's look at where things are. How can we make things better? And, you know, what's not working? Why are we going to continue to do things that are not working? Let's change it. So, so yeah, I've definitely gone through that. And, you know, I'd like to be part of a collaborative environment for sure.
So true. Really, honestly, so true. I think a lot of us have felt that same thing in a different way throughout their careers. There's always someone running alongside us or ahead of us that we feel that we're trying to catch up to or pass up. And when we do get to that point where we really feel that we've earned the ability to pass them up, we get told actually no because of some reason that you kind of go, oh, that's just not, I wouldn't say fair, maybe not right, or, you know, any one of those things. Interesting. So anyone that wants to put a question in the chat box, as soon as we're done with the pre-questions everybody sent in, you're more than welcome to. So please definitely type those in if you have anything you'd like to ask Christine. Do you feel right now, so what has changed with your position at Crew Network as president due to the COVID? I know you guys have been fantastic about rearranging everything and taking it virtual and having to postpone some of the summits and things. But has that really changed effectively how your year planned out? Because a lot of us as chapter presidents, so myself, even Suzanne Kennedy is on this call today. She's president of Crew Orange County. It's changed a lot about how we saw our year going, mainly, and how it's affecting the things we wanted to achieve during that year. So how are you guys kind of handling that at the network level?
Yeah, it is very different. It's a very different year than it was going to be out for sure. And, you know, I'll tell you, like, there have been, I think it's really kind of Friday the 13th was the day that any kind of, you know, working in the office, at least on the East Coast, a lot of people started staying home. It was Friday the 13th of March. And Wendy and I, as president, you have a call every week with Wendy, and we just kind of do a check-in and what's going on, what are we working on, and so on that Tuesday morning, Wendy and I, so that would have been maybe like the 17th or something like that. Wendy and I talked, and we were like, whoa, this is big, and this is going to be around for a while. So we literally just said, this is the reality. This is where we are. And what do we do? Like, we've got to pivot and we've got to bring value immediately. And so that was literally day 2 of staying home. We said things have changed. The other thing that, and thankfully we had Crew Biz in place, and we've had Zoom in place already. The board of directors has been doing Zoom calls, the executive committee. This is how when we are not together at the summits, this is how we do our board calls. And so we had all this in place already. And what's been interesting, I've talked to other organizations, and they didn't have any technology in place. Our Crew Biz, our app, our Crew Connections, the ability to go on and basically, you know, whiteboard a lot of questions. That just started really firing away. We just started seeing a lot of people jumping on there and really kind of asking for help. Hey, we're seeing this. Does anybody have suggestions for this? And so right away, a lot of you probably noticed we were gathering a lot of that, where there were a lot of questions. We were like, let's get a program together right away. Let's get this addressed right away. The CARES Act. Oh my gosh, Wendy and I were involved. So when you're president of Crew Network, you sit on the board of directors for the Real Estate Roundtable. The Real Estate Roundtable was a big consulting piece to what was happening with the CARES Act. So Wendy and I spent hours and hours and hours on calls with the Real Estate Roundtable in DC that was leading up to what came out in the CARES Act. So that was going on. We were on the phone a ton. And so that was going on. Wendy and I were supposed to be in France for the MIPIM conference, and we had a chock full agenda. We were meeting with all kind of companies, people around the world, people who were interested in figuring out how to do more with women, how to do things in the workplace. And then also we were looking at what other kind of organizations with the women are out there that we can maybe try to start to work with to grow Crew even larger internationally. So we had a full agenda lined up for MIPIM, which was to be held in Cannes, France. And that got canceled. So we ended up not doing that. We were supposed to be in DC for the Real Estate Roundtable Board of Director meeting. That got canceled. Tiffany and I, and Tiffany, our president-elect, Tiffany English, the president and president-elect go with the CEO to ICSC, and we do a program on women in leadership, and that got canceled. So we had a lot of what was originally planned for what was happening in our outreach and ability to get in front of other people who maybe were not Crew. A lot of that got sidelined a little bit. And so, but you know, we were just very much, this is where we are, this is reality, and we have to pivot and react. And if any of you saw, Wendy wrote the blog, and she says you have to be nimble and you have to move quick. Like you have to be nimble, but you have to also move. You can't just talk about, well, this is different, and this is like, you have to do that and move with it. And so the term that came out is nimbleosity. And so you'll see nimbleosity. And then for those of you who are around, if you ever see anybody going, there they go. That's the move for nimbleosity. So it's like, go, like change it, move and go. So you know, we talked about that. We were like, we've got to make quick changes. And I will tell you, the Crew, the staff has been amazing. They have changed and redirected and pulled together speakers and have done such a great job. And then what has been fabulous is the members are helping us to do the programming because they are on the Crew Biz, they're on the app, they're calling, they're talking to each other, they're sending emails. So we're getting a lot of information input from the members, which is helping us to drive programming that we feel like is answering and helping the members. And that has been a very crucial part to making sure that we are valuable, that we are doing things that are helpful to the members, and that we're staying connected in ways that are meaningful.
Wonderful answer. Wonderful. They are definitely doing that. We can tell with the programs you guys are putting on and the Zoom calls and the events that we're attending, it is really the knowledge that's coming through from network and is phenomenal. And if those of you on our call today have not had an opportunity to get on to Crew Network site and see what the upcoming speakers are and join some of these Zoom meetings, definitely do so. They are informative, they are beneficial, and even just the board hosted happy hours and the different things that you guys have going on, it's a great way to connect with everyone outside our normal scope of just people that we're talking to day to day.
Yeah, and
so
I'll tell you,
let
me mention something else with that just real quick. I'll just tell you, so I've tried to make all of them just because I feel like as president, I need to be involved, not to oversee things, but I just want to keep a tab on what's happening and what people are having to say. And one of the things that I have found in doing that is that I have been involved in some of these programs that have clearly nothing to do with healthcare, because we've not done a healthcare program. But for example, there are things that are coming out in other programs that I'm like, geez, you know, we don't do that, and we have not thought about doing that. That's an interesting take, and with a twist, we could end up introducing that in what we do. And I'll give you, you know, example. I was on the call with Laurie Baker, and she was talking about multifamily, and some of the comments that were coming out of that, I thought, these are really great ideas, and some of the ways that things were being managed were takeaways for me. And so I would encourage, I'd only say that to say encourage you that if you have the chance, go ahead, go back and listen to some, because there are really interesting things that are said on those that maybe you are not typically used to hearing in your, you know, in your sector of business.
So true, Christine, so true, definitely. So we have a question come in. Is being the Crew Network president part of your career goal with Crew? And then secondly, what do you plan to do within Crew after you move on from being president?
If, trying to remember what year it was, probably about 2000, maybe 2010 or 2011. I was at Crew Convention, and I just remember, I remember being like, just like blown away. I'm like, oh my gosh, these women are so unbelievable. And I remember looking up at the stage and thinking, wow, like that's just really cool. And I thought that would really be neat if one day, you know, if one day I could do that. And so I would say, you know, not immediately. So I did put it in my mind that I thought that would be just amazing to be in that position. And then I would say when I got nominated to be on the board of directors at the network level, I was like, oh my gosh, that's, you know, it was that they talk about the imposter syndrome. And I was like, really? Like I could do that? That would be really neat. So, and once I did that, I was like, gosh, this is really great. Like I really enjoy this. And so I'd say, you know, that kind of made it more of a reality is so yes, when I thought it, I thought that would be really neat to do someday. And then once I got nominated onto the board of directors, I definitely was interested. I loved the organization. I loved being involved at that level. So it did become a goal of mine. And, you know, and my step off to do the Crew Network Foundation chair was not part of what my plan was, but when they asked me to do it, I did it. And then my heart just loves that part of it, of being there to support younger people and try to, you know, and the research that we do, the research is fantastic, because I am very much, especially when we're going out and we're trying to change things, to say, we feel like this, or we believe this, you know, it doesn't have the meat that it does. It doesn't have the grip that it does with the data. So the research that we do, we're like, look, this is the data. This is real. This is data. This is something you can work from. You know, I ended up really, really enjoying digging into that aspect of it. So, yeah, literally it's sort of like if you're in a company and you're doing this job and they say, well, hey, can you do this job? And you're thinking, well, I wasn't really thinking about that, but it's an opportunity. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, I said, yeah, and then I just really enjoyed it. So, yeah, so it did morph, but I will tell you, and she doesn't even know this. She doesn't even know this. Kirsten Blount, she's up in Boston. She was president. She works with Colliers in the Boston office. And someday I'll have to tell her this, but I remember meeting her at Marketplace, and I remember thinking like, oh my gosh, she's Crew Network, like she's president level, and she's so nice. I just remember like she's so nice and she's personable, like she's like a real nice person. And I just remember thinking that's really cool. And then as I got to spend time and meet some of the other presidents, I'm like, they're normal people. So I think when I first saw Crew presidents, I was just enamored, and it was like a rock star kind of thing. And then as I got to know them, I was like, they're real people and they're genuine and they really want to help. So, so that's been kind of fun. So someday I'll have to tell Kristen that was part of the part of like my realization of the people in Crew.
I think she would appreciate that story, most definitely. So we have a COVID question for you now.
Mhm.
So how has COVID impacted how you do your work personally with Caddis?
Yeah, it's definitely changed because I'm normally on a plane. I'm usually in different cities. You know, I'm usually traveling probably out of 4 weeks of the month. I'm usually on the road. I'm usually gone between 2 to 3 weeks. So at least at some level, even if it's 1 or 2 nights. So I would say clearly that has changed, and I'm not able to meet in person like I was. Also, we've had, you know, things where we were moving forward, and for the first time ever that, you know, again, I've been in healthcare for 31 years. For the first time ever, we found something that's actually a negative impact to healthcare real estate. And so we are all adjusting to what that is. A lot of the same principles that you work with in all the other sectors, you know, retail, office, industrial, whatever, as far as leases are concerned, that same thing still where that applies, where we have physicians who, you know, there are some physicians that are saying, we can't see our patients and we're losing money, so like we're going to have to shut our doors. Some physicians are doing telemedicine versus in-person visits, and that is impacting them. I've heard that that they get paid, it's either that they get paid 30% less or they are only making 30% of a normal in-person visit. So physicians' revenues are all down. Elective surgeries, a lot of our surgeons are not able to be making money because a lot of surgeries that are not emergency surgeries are on hold right now. So it could be something like a torn ACL. If you can still walk and you know, and it's like that would just kind of help you, but it's not mandatory that you have it. It's considered elective. Those kinds of routine surgeries that they were doing are not happening anymore. So we, just like everybody else, we have been working to do lease reworks, and so we've got some of that going on. One of the positive things for us is that we have a situation going on with a parking thing, and it's kind of helping us because we're continuing to move forward with a brand new parking garage, and our temporary parking it has been. It's worked out to our favor, actually, to get us a little bit more time to use some space that we were going to have to give up a little bit sooner. But from a standpoint of how I work and the people I communicate with, it's definitely been harder, I think, to meet people that are new contacts for me. I still meet them and I still interact with them. I think there are more people willing to do LinkedIn type connections, and I'm doing a lot more through LinkedIn, and I have reached out to some other people, but I think I'm trying to also be sensitive to the fact that Zoom is some people are just like, I can't Zoom 8 hours a day, but so I'm trying to be sensitive to that. One of the other things that I would say is it's been I've had time to sit and really be strategic about where are we. And like I said, I love to think strategy. I love to think this is where we are, this is where we're going. So now we have a new norm. So what am I doing? Who am I reaching out to? And so when I'm reaching out to contacts, some of my contacts are the same. Some have shifted a little bit because we're going to be in a different world with financing. And we're going to be in a different world with a lot of our clients, where a lot of our clients are. So just thinking about how do we work with them and how are we sensitive to them. The other thing is right now we work with a lot of hospitals and physicians. Physicians are not always in their offices, or they're very limited hours. Hospitals are inundated right now with what's going on. We've heard one of our hospital clients said they expect COVID to cost them $150 million. So, you know, so a lot of people, a lot of hospitals that were maybe looking to do expansions, those projects have gone on hold. And so we're just going to have to wait and see how that all falls out.
Wow. Unbelievable. It's amazing how it impacts everything, everywhere, in every aspect. It's It's incredible, but it sounds like the way you're thinking about it and approaching it is going to be beneficial for not only yourself, but for the company you work with and the clients that you're working with as well.
Trying. But it's,
Yeah,
you know, it's
that's all
just
we
sad.
can do,
I'll tell
right?
you, you know, it's really, I'll tell you that one of the sad things about, I mean, there are lots of sad parts about what's going on right now. And like the small businesses that are going out. I mean, I hate that. And livelihoods are just changing like crazy. But you think like these hospitals are so busy, right? And then you go like, they're so busy taking care of such sick people and they're losing money. Like that just doesn't even add up. And, but that's what's happening. And doctors that are closing their doors, there's somebody we work with and they said they got a note from their pediatrician that said they're going to have to close their business. And you don't ever think that doctors are going to go out of business.
No,
but it's starting
you would
to
not
happen.
think that. That's just a scary thought, considering the need of them everywhere, all the time.
Yep.
And it's interesting, I don't care what city I travel to, if I see a new medical building go up, one day, you know, they're putting names on the door, and the next day the parking lots are full, and they're full every day you drive by. And that was before COVID. That's just a normal thing that we would see. So to hear that doctors are going out of business now and that industry is starting to lose money, that changes the scope of, I think, a lot of what people view what's really happening out there. That is definitely going to change it. So we have a couple more questions for you.
I was just going to say the silver lining to that, it too, is that people need to sell their buildings. So we are our acquisition. So, you know, that's the other thing I work on is I look for acquisition opportunities to buy medical buildings. And, you know, so the acquisition side of it, we're well capitalized. We're in a really good position. And so the flip side of that is that we're trying to take advantage of that. And, you know, in a situation where people are potentially losing or having a really hard time with their medical building, we're trying to come in and buy those. So, so we're trying to buy assets all over the place. So if you hear anybody looking for sell a medical building, let me know.
For sure. I'm sure you'll get some phone calls after this. Trust me. Trust me. So what's the one advice, the most important tip that you could give to new crew members?
That one's easy. Engage and network. Make sure you get involved in a committee. Make sure you show up, participate, and definitely just network. Make sure you talk to everybody when you go to the meetings. And sometimes it's, you know, it's like got a million things going on. Make the time. It will be worth it.
That's so true. That's really great advice. And I think we're all going to start using that quite a bit more when we're engaging with other people, definitely. So throughout your career, do you ever feel that you've needed a reboost or just like a recharge, kind of a timeout moment?
100%. It has happened. You know, it's sometimes it's just, it can be anything from where I am just going full throttle. And my husband knows if I say, I need to take a nap, he's like, whoa. I'm typically pretty high energy. You might be able to tell that. I'm usually high energy. So if I say I need to take a nap, he knows, oh, okay. And sometimes I get really wound up going on things. I'll go 100 miles an hour. And the best thing, like I always say, he'll say, bring it down, babe, bring it down. And it's really just like and he says that as in like, take a breath, just go slower, like just, you know, pump the brakes a little bit. So sometimes sometimes I will take on a lot and I try to keep it all going, and I'll end up getting up early and working very, very late into the night. And in the end, it's not real. I've loved learning. That's not a good thing because it wears you down. So, so in that way I need to recharge. And, you know, and every once in a while, if I do feel like I'm doing the same old, and I'm not involved, I go back to that. If I'm not improving situations and I'm not adding to, that can be a very defeating feeling for me. You know, I take a lot of self-pride in what I do. I try to work hard. I try to do good things. And when I feel like I'm kind of spinning wheels and it's not getting anywhere, I've got to find the reset button very fast. And so some of that is, you know, it's just one of those where I just kind of have to walk away for a minute and then just say, okay, what can I do to make things better? Either is it relationships? Is it processes? Is it how I'm doing things, like, and really, and then get re-energized on, it's almost like the pull the bootstraps up and get going. You know, it's that kind of thing where I say, okay, like I've got to, okay, what's off? And I'll tell you, sometimes, every once in a while, when I'm like, what's off? And this is something I learned in a crew leadership class. I sit down and I will make lists. And I was like, these are the things in the last couple weeks or whatever that are making me absolutely crazy and driving me down. And these are the things that are really taking me down. And then I make another list and like, hey, like, these are the things that are really invigorating me. And what do those things look like? And then try to do more on the invigoration side and try to say, okay, if it's on the negative side, is there anything I can do about that that can turn that negative into a positive? And the whole make lemonade out of lemons situations, you know, I'm like, if I get down on a situation, I like really just try to stay down, you know, and I try to tell my boys this too. I'm like, this is something in life you have to know. You're going to have good times, you're going to have bad times. That's just life. And the bad times are going to help you appreciate the good times. And literally, I will tell myself when everything's flying high and everything's great, I'll take a moment. I'm like, oh my gosh, I am so happy to be here right now. And I'm so thankful to be here right now. Like, this is so awesome. And I will pay attention to when things are really good. I make note of it. And I like, almost like breathing. It's almost like breathing in fresh air. And I'm like, this is awesome, you know? And then when things are really down and really deep down and, you know, it's just like, oh my gosh, okay. But and you'll hear it, like I say things about resiliency. It's that bounce back. Like, you can't stay down long. It's okay to be down, and it's okay to feel it. It's okay to feel it, because I think if you feel it when you're down, it helps you. It can be a friend to you to help push you out of that. But you've got to be the person that's willing to open your mind and be willing to say, like, okay, you know what? Own it. This sucks. This is awful. But okay, you know what? But I don't want to stay here. I don't want to be here. So what do I do to change that? And then just start working. And you know, a lot of times it can feel very overwhelming, but it's that whole elephant. If you take the first bite, you've got to start taking a bite somewhere and do at least a little bit. And if you have to write down and make yourself almost a plan that each day, I'm going to just do this little thing every day. I'm going to do this. I'm going to accomplish this. And you can break it down into little pieces and start working those pieces to get out of it. You will get out of it. And so I think the key is just don't stay down long.
That is great advice. I mean, absolutely. That's it. You nailed it, I think, for everybody. Definitely take a bite of the elephant, one bite at a time. Eventually, you're going to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Christine, we thank you so much for your time today. This has been really wonderful. And, oh, I'm sorry, we have one last question here. All right. What is your recommendation for students graduating in 2020 where the real estate job market may be tough?
I think that first of all, again, network, they've got to reach out. And I think it's a really good opportunity that they should be looking at now, is they should be starting, unless they are 100% in the know about what they want to do. I think they should start taking this time while people are down and not quite so busy. They should be interviewing people that are in the industry to help them figure out exactly what floats their boat, so to speak. I think it's a great time to utilize that kind of time to help determine what they want to do. And then when they find one or two things that really click, that they think are really interesting, ask those people, you know, who else do you know in this industry, this aspect of the industry, that can maybe talk to me? And they need to let people know. I've talked to a bunch of people. I've narrowed it down. This is where I'm interested. So if you hear of anything, know of anything, let me know. And, you know, and if they narrow it down, for example, to either type of position, they can let people know I'm interested in this kind of work, and they can work across the board that way to say what kind of companies are there. But if they also narrow it down to a company they want to work with, sometimes it's, you know, you may not get the exact job you want. And I think a lot of times people coming out of college think that they can get the exact job they want right out of the door. Sometimes you can't do that, and you have to pay your dues. So I think, you know, taking a position to get your foot in the door is going to be really a good step to help do that. And just they constantly need to let people know, I'm here and I'm a hard worker and I'm willing to do what it takes to help the company. And so I think it's a good time for them to utilize resources and understand what they want, really focus on the kinds of goals that they have. And then again, network, it's all network.
Definitely. Definitely. We do have so many students involved in our organization at our chapter level locally as well. So it's so nice to get some advice for them and learn new ways to help engage them and help them create their path and keep them on that as well. Yeah.
You know, and
Thank
I think
you.
too, it's helpful. I mean, I know like one of the things I've done a lot of mentoring, and I'll tell you, to me, I'm like, mentoring, it is very much a two-way street. And it bothers me when people think that all they're doing is mentoring to the younger, because I'm like, things change and there are things happening at the younger age that they can teach us a lot too. And I think it's and so I would just encourage people, when you're talking, if you're ever mentoring, don't look at it as a one way. Really utilize that time with that younger person to understand what's going on in their world and what kind of things they are experiencing, because it takes all of us to make it all go.
That's true. Very true. I say the same thing, and I tell this to people a lot. Anyone that I have had the opportunity to mentor or help along the way, I learned a lot more from them than I think I was ever able to help them with. And it always feels that way. They don't say that. They say, oh, it was great. This has been wonderful. But I do feel that I learned so much from them, because it opens your eyes to the way you look at everything. And then just that eye-opening experience allows you to look at yourself and how you handle situations and how you want to take chances or create goals or do your next step. So it does make a difference. It's a definite win-win on both sides for everybody.
Great.
Well, Christine, is there anything else you'd like to share with the group individually here now? I mean, you have that opportunity. Is there something else we haven't asked you that you would like to say maybe?
No, I just encourage you guys to participate in the spring summit. They've got some really interesting things teed up. Like I said, technology. They're doing some things with technology that I couldn't have put together. And so it'll be really interesting. I think it's a great opportunity for people who typically would not have the ability to attend Spring Summit to get a little bit of taste of what it's about. And it certainly doesn't replace the being in person. I think we will miss that, but I do think that a lot of the content that's going to be discussed, the programming, we did change the programming a little bit for the sign of the times, but I think it's going to be great. So I would just encourage, make sure your chapters know that is, I would just kind of push on that information, because there's a lot of ability with this particular situation to engage more people than we haven't been able to in the past. So I would just encourage you to promote that in the chapter and just stay connected. Just keep your members connected to each other. It's, people are having great days. People are having hard days right now. And I think just people need to know that they feel supported, and that sometimes it's going to be support with information and help with that type of thing. And sometimes it's going to be bouncing ideas off of each other. And sometimes it's just going to be knowing that somebody's there just to talk to. Just if you need to vent. We've heard from a lot of our members that they are doing a lot of meditation and a lot of yoga right now, and they are really enjoying that. So if they haven't tried something like that, they might want to try something like that. They said, we've heard a lot of people say it's really nice for the folks that have been able to do that. And there are chapters doing it amongst each other. And so just keep an eye. But yeah, just be there for each other.
Great advice, Christine. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You guys
We
have any
really
other questions?
appreciate your advice. I think that just about wraps it up. I don't see any more questions coming in the chat box.
Okay.
I'll open it up to the floor. Does anyone have anything else they'd like to ask Christine? I know we've been waving hands in the air. I think we're waving to each other though.
Well, you know what? It's so good to see everybody's faces, because I do miss being in person with everybody, and I love it. So I hope you guys all do well. Hang in there. This too shall pass, as they say. So
Thank
this is
you.
me.
I don't have a question as much as I just wanted to, I do the communications. The one thing that we've been seeing with programming and communications is we have chapters now reaching out together that never have done before, that we haven't even, we're posting things on social media and we're actually collaborating. So that's a silver lining that sometimes we wouldn't normally even talk to each other. And now, so that's just a positive I'm seeing. I know it's not a question, but I'm excited about it.
Yeah, no, it's great. There are a lot of things that do come out. I mean, like everything has good and bad, two sides to all kind of things. So I think that's great. And, and again, it's the network. It's utilizing your network. So that's good.
And to piggyback off of Robin, what she was saying, I know she's been in touch with, is it Crew in Philly? That they're on social media and active. And we actually have a yoga class that's going to be led by Arizona Crew, a board member there next week. And so
Is Heather doing it? Is it Heather?
Yes, Heather Fox. After
yeah.
I think you and Wendy led a, I forgot what the topic was on when I joined in, and Heather spoke about it. I contacted her immediately and I said, we need to have you for our Wellness Wednesdays. We've been promoting Wellness Wednesdays to just de-stress, decompress, step away from whatever you're working on and just, relax with us or do something fun. So it's been a positive experience coming out of that. So thank you for promoting that and sharing tips on how to do it.
Yeah.
And
That's
Rob
great.
with communicating and posting online. So, and everyone here, like, I'm just so thankful, like you said, to be surrounded by leaders. I mean, we're all go-getters. So to be running along in a pack together with you all is such an honor. So thank you so much, Christine.
Oh, you are so welcome. I love it. Like I said, it's just everybody's here for each other. And that's really, that is truly a crew kind of culture.
Yeah. So true.
Well, with that in mind, just wanted to thank everyone for joining. NoRhett, is there anything else that we need to address or say or ask?
Just a big thank you and a big hug to Christine. Thank you so much. We really just enjoyed seeing you today.
Thank you so much. I was so great to be with you guys. Thanks so much for asking.
Thank you. Have a
Thank
great
you.
night.
All right, guys, stay healthy.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.